Hey guys, this is Andy, aka Super Musty Cobble, and this is gonna be a kind of serious video. There's some things I want to talk about that I deem pretty, noteworthy, pretty serious topics. Mainly geared towards aspiring YouTubers and people who have depression/anxiety, kind of like myself. And I'll get to the depression/anxiety thing a bit later, but for now, I want to talk about kind of the things you need to expect as an aspiring YouTuber, kind of stuff you need to know when going into it. And a lot of people will probably disagree with me, and you're absolutely free to. You're entitled to your own opinion. Just like this video is basically my own opinion, and strictly that. So, if anyone disagrees, go ahead. I'm not going to ask you to like this video. I'm not going to ask you to share it. If you do, it's out of my power. I obviously can't do anything about that. I'm not gonna. That's not a subliminal message, so that you can just hopefully you can get something out of this video. So moving along, a lot of YouTubers, especially when I started out, we all expected like 10,000 subscribers in the end of 1 year, maybe more, if we're lucky. And some YouTubers now have actually gotten that within a couple of months when they just first started out. And honestly, YouTube is not all about luck. It is about the content creator as well, like the content you put out. And that's one thing that people will say that is just luck. When I feel like that's not necessarily completely true. It does have a factor. It does play a factor in all this, but I feel like luck is just a small fraction of what I guess, how much you'll grow as a channel. I feel like the content itself is kind of what shows people that you care about your YouTube channel and how far you really do want to go with it. And that might be a little bit hard to believe. A lot of people do some really weird shit to kind of promote themselves, myself included. But that's not really, I find it kind of guilty. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm sure other content creators don't really feel that way. Most YouTubers who are big right now have done something similar in the past, but I personally never really wanted to take this route, but unfortunately I have. So, I mean, if there's one thing to regret, it might be because I've never really growed on my own. There's always someone helping me kind of along the way, and I never really wanted that to happen. I've always wanted to reach to the point where I can kind of say I've been successful, but obviously reaching there to that point with my own power. And now a lot of people actually, a lot of YouTube content creators would actually tell you that connections and luck is what gets you big on YouTube. And I definitely see the connections part being a thing, but luck, I really don't like when people say that you have to be lucky on YouTube to be big. For some reason, that just doesn't feel right. I prefer to say that the actual content itself is what got you to the point you're at. And, even like 10,000 subscriber channels, maybe 20,000 at maximum, still considered pretty small, regardless of what anyone really says. They aren't necessarily the biggest. People know you. People absolutely know you. They will talk to you. People know you. But you're not that big, regardless. And another thing is probably the hardest thing when you're a smaller YouTuber is probably finding friends. Good friends. Good friends. Well, good friends to talk to and collaborate with. And that's probably because, I mean, a lot of YouTubers, especially who are smaller, like 5,000, a couple thousand, even 1,000 just in general, never really want to collaborate with anyone who has under 1,000. And there are some, exceptions, but majority don't really do that. And they find it hard, and probably because of a trust issue, because they always have that thing in the back of their mind that they're wondering whether or not you want something from them in specific viewership from their own audience. And to be fair, it's obviously it's understandable, but not everyone exactly that I know, and this is including myself, who is like that. There's been an instance at one point where a guy who did have 3,000 at the time, who now has close to 100,000. I'm not gonna name anyone specific, but If you really see, you could probably tell who I'm talking about. I all I really wanted was to make a friend. To be quite fair, I didn't really have anyone to record with, and I was kind of bored playing by myself. So I decided to talk to him, and he did agree to the collaboration, but only after like maybe one or two sessions. I think it was two. Yeah, he invited me to play a game with him with a couple other YouTubers, and I'd agreed. I said sure. I didn't mind. I don't really know why he did this, but the next day when we were supposed to, I messaged him, and he didn't really say anything back. So the day after that, he kind of removed me off of Skype, and I just still don't know to this day why he did something like that. I don't know. I thought for the time I've known him, I kind of made it clear that I don't know. I didn't want to use him, and I don't want. There's no one in this that I know right now that I want to use for their subscribers. Honestly, if a big YouTuber were to talk to me right now, I probably wouldn't want to. Like, if we were to do a session, I wouldn't want him to record it. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. And that's not to make you think that I'm a good person, or make you think that I'm just lying to you, just straight to your face. I probably wouldn't want them to record it. I don't want them to feel like they can't trust me. And that goes to anyone, really. And needless to say, I'm not going to talk to anyone big. And who knows? I don't know. This is kind of irrelevant, but collaborations are kind of hard. Usually, a lot of YouTubers would kind of go and talk to people their own size, but at the same time, in the back of your head, you do want to grow. You want to grow, and you want to get to the point where everyone's at, where you can talk to fans in real life at conventions, travel the world. Well, not everywhere in the world, but travel in general. And, have a viewership, and, people talk to you and people like you. There's a majority of YouTubers now who usually either start YouTube or are in YouTube right now, usually don't have that connection with people in real life. And that is definitely me, myself included. I don't have that many friends. And I probably just wanted to do this YouTube thing to kind of make people laugh and feel better about themselves. And to be fair, it is really hard. I don't even get to play a majority of the games I actually want to, because I'm really focused on providing content and, looking for games that people might like and share. Usually I don't get to play the games that I want to. I usually have to stop some series because nobody watches them. And there'd be in my opinion, there wouldn't be a point to continuing them. The majority of the people would probably disagree with that, and you probably would tell me, you should just play what you want, and then people will watch it regardless because you're you. But that's not really necessarily the case. And a lot of people don't really have a lot of time to, watch the same game that someone else has probably played who's definitely bigger than I am. Hence why, games like Dead Space, The Witcher, and other stuff like that probably, wouldn't really get a lot of views. And that's fine, I guess, in some sort of manner. And I'm more okay with it now as opposed to before, of just making a good old-fashioned Let's Play, which, according to some YouTubers, is getting old and just worn out. Nobody watches them. Statistically, sure, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my roots, because I did a while ago, maybe 4 years ago, when, Let's Play was still a new thing. I was around. I did still do that kind of thing. Not on this channel, but on a separate channel, and I was not necessarily one of the pioneers. I was kind of young back then, so all I was really playing was Mario and Luigi, and probably Zelda, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to go back to that. That's kind of why I started this channel. It was a good time, and some people did actually watch my videos. Unfortunately, when I came back to it, it's not, all this happiness and sunshine that it usually would think it is. I mean, I'm not a big YouTuber, but I do have some viewership. Unfortunately, that in some cases not very apparent, but it's kind of strange. It's not it's not the most fun you'll ever have. You'll have fun doing it, and I'm sure a lot of big YouTubers can kind of wish that they can kind of just do whatever they want, kind of thing, with like not worrying about editing or anything like that. But I don't know. A lot of YouTubers probably know what they're getting into, and I'll put a link in the description for a good video that I saw recently. It was by Cinnamon Toast Ken, and he kind of talked about, basically he talked about being a big YouTuber and kind of all the side effects that you don't really see behind the scenes type of thing, and it was pretty good. I did watch that, kind of what inspired this video and kind of the struggles of being a smaller one. And what you should know is every day, probably every week at least, you have to put out new and interesting, fresh content, relatively short as well, that people will watch, that people will sit down, enjoy, and share. And that's honestly all you can ever hope for once that video is uploaded. That is all you can hope for, and that is all you will wish for, really, once that's rendered and uploaded. Because really, it does take quite a while for, well, not necessarily me, but for other YouTubers to kind of sit down, edit, and upload it, because not everyone's internet is quite that good. So for me, it actually takes around 2 hours for a video to be rendered and uploaded, excluding recording time. But that's just another thing. All those I have to take apart, point out the editing as well, and that takes quite a while. And not necessarily, like I said, not necessarily for me, but I do know some people who do, do quite a bit of editing. Dubious Wig in specific, I suppose, and Ariosis. They do a lot of editing, and they don't get the viewership they really deserve. Of course, they do have viewership. They have quite a bit, more than me. But they don't. They deserve more. I'm not saying I deserve any. Of course, that is not for me to decide. I am not going to be biased. But if I deserve it, it'll happen. It'll happen. But as of right now, I'm still going to be doing what I'm doing. And, well, there's also another thing that takes apart quite a bit of time now that I think about it. And you probably notice it sometimes, which is my thumbnails. I do draw a lot of them myself, majority now, as opposed to before. And it does take quite a while, at least maybe 3 hours for one, normally, like on average. I do draw relatively fast, so some of it may not be the best it can be. But I do take a lot of time out of my day to actually do it, and I make sure it's the best, so people should be interested in clicking on it. Now, if you're looking for a YouTube tips video on kind of how to get started, I could help you on that. If you want me to make that kind of video, you should just let me know, and I'll help you the best I can. But another thing for YouTubers is getting comments, just smaller ones. It's honestly probably the best thing that usually happens in your day. When you get a nice comment, and big YouTubers, they get a lot of nice comments, but they also get a lot of negative ones as well. So if you're going into it, you become big, you need to be mindful of that. But another thing is just a side note, or not really a side note, but getting comments is probably the best part of my day. I don't get very many. That part is true, and it may seem unfortunate for the from my outsider's perspective, because I do put a lot of work into it, and don't necessarily get a lot of feedback. And honestly, I think it's perfectly okay. I mean, when I watch videos, I don't really comment. I don't necessarily like either. So I kind of think I put myself in the viewer's shoes, and I can relate. I mean, I'm just there to watch the video, whether or not someone whether or not I comment or like something. As long as someone else probably does, he'll probably post again, and then I'll watch more of it, and it doesn't really matter because he'll just post more. I don't need to do anything. It's fine. And to be fair, that is absolutely true. But, you know, as much as, you know, we try to make your day a lot better by entertaining you, it makes our day 10 times better when you leave a comment or you like or well, if you share, we wouldn't really know. You just kind of see the numbers, which is really YouTube is basically a numbers game. It is a business, no matter which way you look at it. Because there's money involved, it is a business. It is a business, and a lot of people will be turned off by that. A lot of people will not want to take the time out of their day to sit down, edit a video. If you're an artist, even draw the thumbnail, even draw stuff that is involved in video. Like if you make speed arts, and basically do all that stuff. Like it's not necessarily it's easy in theory, but it's a lot harder to manage and maintain than you might think. Because you need a kind of a strict schedule for this kind of thing. Like before all this, I was the viewer. I watched so many videos, like by countless YouTubers, and I never really made my own content. And eventually, I kind of decided that I should just stop watching them, because if I did that, then I'd be able to make my own content and have my own thing. So that's kind of what I did. It was more like a commitment. It was more like a promise to myself that I would stop watching a bunch of YouTubers. I still support them. Needless to say, but I don't really necessarily sit down and watch their half an hour, maybe 10 minutes, even 5-minute videos. I do support them, however. My screen just fucking closed. Anyways, that's kind of what you need to kind of know going into it. Like every video, you need to think about. You need to think about it thoroughly. You need to think about all the numbers. Every single thing you have to think about. You have to think about who would want to collaborate with you. You think about what kind of content you should post. What people will like. Honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The Forest and Rust are not necessarily my favorite games. I do have fun playing them, and that's because I try to make it fun. If I were to just play it, or just sit down and play it, I wouldn't have fun. It's not necessarily my favorite game. I did think they were fun when I started playing them, but now it feels more of a chore to play it. But I also feel obligated to play it and record it because a lot of you guys seem to like it a lot more than my other content. And that is fun. That is fair. That is fair. But I mean, sometimes as a YouTuber, you kind of just want to play the games that you want to and be able to have fun, and people will still watch it just as any other series. And this goes for a lot of YouTubers. Some of them just post strictly one game or a single genre even. And I like to think of myself as a more diverse type of guy who will kind of post anything as long as it interests me. And there are other YouTubers like similar to that. I obviously quite a bit come in mind actually. But as a YouTuber, the smaller one, which is definitely, if you want to be a big YouTuber, this is how you're going to have to start. Normally, if you're lucky, which, like I said, I don't really like having the luck factor in a part of it, but if you're lucky, you'll probably jump 10,000, like one person in specific that I have in mind, in like 3 months. How that was possible, I can't tell you. I'm sure he doesn't even know himself. But other than that, it's going to be a long process. At least more than 1 year. Maybe a year, but more often than not, average, it's going to be more than a year. It's going to be more than a year. It took me a year to get 143 subscribers. A year. Honestly, I don't really think that too bad. I don't think that is bad at all. But if you're hoping to get 10,000 in 1 year, then I guess if you think about the averages, you're probably not going to get there. Now, needless to say, I'm not saying it won't happen at all. Honestly, if you have good content, if you're proud of it, if you like it, then as long as you're having fun with it, then I don't see any problem. I don't see anything. I don't see you not getting 10,000. I think you could. I think it's very possible at that point. Just a lot of people don't really. I don't know. It's hard to talk about. I can't really. I feel like I'm somewhat limited in terms of stuff I want to say. Of being a smaller YouTuber, I can kind of say whatever I want, but I don't really want to offend anyone. I don't really want to, drive hate to this video because it's not meant for that. It's more meant for, I don't know, this perspective of the small guy. The guy who kind of just gets left in the corner, and the guy just kind of does his own thing. He's just a quiet guy, and that's kind of me in real life. But yeah, if you want to be if you want to be a big YouTuber, going into it, it's a little bit harder than you would expect. A lot of big YouTubers have dealt with it. They've gotten to the point where they want it to be, but you also have to think about like what kind of goal will you have once you reach that point. What are you gonna do? You've made it, but what do you do? Like, what goal do you have in mind aside from maybe a family? What do you have to strive for? You already made it. Aside from maintaining, your success, there isn't much to do. Unless you obviously come up with a goal in that time, then I'm sure you'll be fine. But for a lot of people, knowing what they want to do after that point is a little bit difficult. And this won't apply to everyone, but for some people, maybe a majority even, it's some things you have to think about, for doing YouTube. And this is like, you have to always one-up yourself in terms of content as well. You can't just always just post the same thing over and over again. Every single day, even though I'm not a big YouTuber, even though I am not making a dime off of this, I am constantly spending time on YouTube, trying to think of ways to improve my content every day. And I will always reply, to the ones I deem, I guess, replyable. I don't know, sometimes it's not necessarily, I can't really reply to them. But more often than not, I will reply. 9 times out of 10. But always one-upping yourself is very, very important. To always improve yourself. I taught myself Photoshop. I taught myself how to do everything I know. Obviously, I'm not a professional at either. Well, anything really yet. But that is something I kind of took the time to do. It took me a full year to kind of get to the point where I can draw my own thumbnails and kind of look decent. It is a hard road. It is a hard road, and a lot of people will put you down and they will just throw back in your face. And honestly, just to not pay attention to those guys, probably the best thing you could do. I'm not going to, just say some random cheesy quote that a lot of people, usually say when talking about this type of thing. But honestly, if you have a dream, just chase it. Just do what you want to do. Just fight for it. Fight for it every day. Don't even talk about it. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else. Not for your dad's pride. Not for your friends. Not for your girlfriend. Do it for yourself. And it is the only one who you need to make happy. Yourself and your family as well. I mean, you do have families. I mean, I guess scratch the part where you only need to make yourself happy. I'm not trying to sound selfish. But happiness is something everyone should have. And if being a big YouTuber would make you, if you think that would give you happiness, by all means, strive for it. And you'll see whether or not it makes you happy. You'll see then. There's no harm in not trying. You might as well try it. If you really think you can do it. I guess another thing. This is, by the way, sorry for the long video. I've kind of a bit to talk about. I guess another thing that I wanted to talk about is more personal to me. So majority of you who wanted to watch for that aspect, you can stop watching now if you don't really care about what I have to say about myself. But for those of you who do, this is personal, and hopefully you can kind of get to know me a bit better. Maybe, I don't really know. You might not. Maybe. I don't want you to feel bad for me, either. Maybe you might. You might not. Can't really control that feeling. So, nevertheless, I do have depression. I've been depressed for quite a while now, actually. And the thing is, I'm too young, and a lot of people will tell me that I'm too young to be depressed or have anxiety issues. And the thing is that I've not necessarily had the best childhood either, ever. I'm only 16, and needless to say, I'm not necessarily, the happiest guy ever. I might seem like the nicest and happiest guy ever, which I guess nice might be nice to say about myself. I know, I guess I am kind of nice. I don't want to sound biased, but happy is more like the fact that I want to make people laugh and make people happy is why I will seem like I'm happy as well. I kind of put on that front so people don't get sad and people don't be reminded of their problems, because I don't want them to feel that way. There'd be, in my opinion, there wouldn't be a point to that. I want to make people feel like they forget their problems. They can just forget their problems and laugh. That's all I've been striving for. And lately, I feel like I haven't really been able to do that. I haven't been able to do that. I haven't been able to do a lot of things. I am a bit chubby, and recently I've been taking action towards that, mainly for myself. And that's only because I want to be able to have more energy to make videos for you guys and to be, the best that I can be, and to do all that, to be enthusiastic, to just live a healthy life. And I don't know, I'm definitely within the next year, hopefully, I can say that I've done that healthy thing. But in terms of everything else, I really have no idea what I'm gonna be doing after high school. Not necessarily clear on that. I've made a lot of bad decisions. I made a lot of tough decisions, and it's only going to get harder from here, for me, though. I really don't feel like I've done much with my life. Right now, aside from YouTube, it really doesn't have much meaning to it. I do go to school, I come back, I do this, I work out, and that's my day. Not many friends to talk to be quite honest. I do have friends, yeah, but not many who are always there, mind you. But it gets quite lonely sometimes, and that might be my fault. But like I said before, not the best childhood. Probably why I'm kind of like the way I am, and a little bit cynical and sarcastic. That's kind of why I'm like that. I don't know why exactly, but I've had different instances where majority of my elementary my elementary school career, I was bullied practically every day about either my weight, about how dumb I was. And in my personal opinion, I really don't think anyone has the right to call anyone dumb at all. I feel like everyone is smart in their own way, but I mean, if they really are being dumb and an asshole, like killing someone for an unjust reason, maybe stuff like that. For someone in school who really is, hasn't really done anything wrong, maybe made a mistake or two, not like anything obviously severe, like accidentally shanked someone. Well, not accidentally, like shanked someone or in their pancreas, then, I mean, you can probably call them dumb. All right. Whether or not he regrets it after is different. I don't know. That's a completely different topic. But the point is that it's weird. It's weird. I can't necessarily pinpoint it, but I am lonely. Just to put it plain and simple. I am depressed. I have anxiety issues. I sometimes find it really hard to talk to someone. I don't know why. I don't exactly know why. Like I said, a lot of people would probably just call me a bitch, right? A lot of people would just probably call me a bitch and be like, "You're too young to even have any of these issues." Like I have like 50 cousins who died in like 2 days. All right, you can't be depressed and have anxiety issues when I have all these problems. And you know, to be fair, there are definitely a lot of people who have way more problems than I do. And I can't tell them that I have bigger problems than they do. But this is personal, and this is just something I've been dealing with. So, sorry, I just cracked my knuckles there. Uh, I am, I am depressed, lonely. I'm getting a tad bit better. Not exactly the best I could be in my prime. There are obviously ways I cope with it. Usually watching anime, that usually helps. It's fucking great. Sometimes. It depends on the anime, of course, but there's that, and basically doing YouTube. There are people who who do watch my videos, and that honestly makes me the happiest guy ever. Honestly, even if I stayed like this and people still watch, like the people who are watching right now still watch my videos, I would be still one of the happiest guys ever. Because I know that my subscribers like me for me, and are entertained by me, and I can help them out in terms of entertainment and kind of forgetting their problems. That makes me happy, and not a lot of things really do. Of course, the time I do spend with friends, may it be very short, still makes me kind of happy. But the point is that they're not always around, so I do feel lonely. And that maybe it's my fault, like I said, because I am not necessarily going anywhere for help. Not Maybe I'm just not talking to them as much as I should be. I am very unsociable, I guess. I'm almost like an escapist. Sometimes I just need to get away from it. I need to get away from reality. And in some cases, it's not a bad thing. I really do need like a stress reliever. And honestly, at this point, I'm probably just gonna be babbling on. But hope you guys kind of took something from the video. And if you want to see, if you want to have me make more videos, kind of like a real talk type of thing, just let me know. And thank you very, very much for the people who have made it this far in the video. I love you, and you make my life a lot better, for the most part. So with that, have a great day, guys, and see you later.